very much to Don for doing this. This isn't going to be a crucifixion. We're just looking for some answers and setting some things straight. So
letting him have his voice unmanipulated by anybody's personal gains and media and all of that, and being joined by Tracy with Tracing the Truth also. So Don, we're going to get into then about you talking about the environment of where your house is, all the drug dealers living around there and everything, and just answer that and talk about it however you want to.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, there is a lot of drug issues of people, that are searching for meth or pills or whatever. But like the other morning, I posted some pictures, of that red truck. That started at 3 a.m, and they was out there raising Cain, at 3 a.m. But so we don't know, and we've had stuff come up missing, and people are in and out of there all the time. And I didn't really realize how rough it was there. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of people that come around, constantly, day and night, all hours of the night, looking for pills or whatever, meth, I don't know, but yeah, we see that a lot. Like the picture I posted of the little red truck, he got stuck there at 3 a.m, and they're yelling and screaming since 3 that morning. So when I went to work that morning, that's the first thing I was dealing with, but and then until the police showed up, but yeah, that's pretty common in that area, a lot of rough characters around, for sure.
How did that tip come into play? Was that you that brought that up because you saw the red truck, or did somebody else bring that into play and tell you guys there was a red truck, or how exactly did the red truck come into the picture?
When I was leaving for work that morning, there was a guy at the bottom of my driveway wanting me to pull start his four-wheeler. And then the police showed up, and he asked if I could go ahead and pull it over to his truck. So, and the policeman said, "Yeah, Mr. Wells is pulled over there, and so I did. And when we got there, I seen the truck on the bank of the ditch there, high centered, and I asked the officers if I'd take some pictures. He said, "No problem, Mr. Wells, go ahead." And he started asking him for paperwork. And when I went to the side of the truck to take a picture, there was some woman stuck her head out. There was a woman in that truck, and she looked like she ain't combed her hair for like 2 months. I don't know, but she just laid back down in there and covered up. But that kind of stuff is constant in our area, and all kind of stuff going on. I think meth is becoming, it always has been, but it's getting worse, I guess. It's a serious problem. I guess it is everywhere. But.
Sorry, that was that morning you left for work that happened with the four-wheeler and that?
Yes.
So the police were there June 15th, early in the morning then?
Yeah. Yeah, they just showed up because somebody else had called the law.
Were you hiding in that shed when Chris did the interview with his wife? Or with your wife?
No, I was actually at work, and that's one of the things that made me mad when he commented something like that. I mean, knowing that all these people are watching his show, and we let him come up there to our house, and he's going to do us like that. Man, I just thought that was real unprofessional. It really upset me. I think there's a lot of speculation, and there's a lot of people talking to him, and it's unbelievable how Facebook, how it is.
Can you tell us if they verified that you were at work that day? Did you know if they spoke to your boss?
I don't know exactly what they verified, but, my boss, Richard Tucker, he knows. He talked to me that day. Jamie Killian, he was there. I talked to him for 30, 40 minutes after, that day too. But trying to remember, but I think I talked to Richard about 30 minutes before I got the phone call, and then I had to load my tools up and head to the house as fast as I could. So driving a Subaru that day, so I think they could tell by that too, because it's a brand new Subaru. I couldn't remember exactly, but until TBI reminded me that it was 6:30 when we called, because that's what the 911 said. It was 6:30 exactly. And also my wife, I guess she looked on her messenger and was able to verify that too. Around the time that she called 911 was 6:30. So yeah, I don't know why I was thinking 5:30, but I guess I was just wrong in that. Yeah, that's not a problem at all. Candace wanted me home So she made up, she made up the story that she had moved the guy in, and she didn't say anything about him or anything else. She just let me speculate that she'd moved the guy in, So, of course, I flew across the country as fast as my little truck could take me, and I got there, and the first day, everything's okay, but the second day we decided to have a few drinks, and stuff, and things started to get heated, and Jose, his wife had messed around on him, I guess, and he was kind of taking it out on me with questions and stuff or whatever, but I told him, me and Candace had our problem, and we worked through that and worked it out, and, but she thought that I was in Utah, I was at a party. And I told her on the phone that I'm at a party. We're getting something to eat. Me and my son, we got to get going. We got to get home and get in bed because I had to go all the way to Park City that next day. But what she heard was that I was at a party and I don't want to talk to you, so bye. It's kind of the way she took it, but that wasn't the case at all because I wasn't doing anything but just getting some food and going home to sleep so I could go to work. But that's not the way she took it. But so that was miscommunication right there, and we didn't know that until after, But anyway, let me go back to the story. But so me and Jose is getting into it, and he's calling me names and stuff. But every time he'd call me a name or say something about me, Candace would push me. So this went on for quite a while. Candace pushing me and pushing me and pushing me, and he'd say something, and she'd push me. And finally, I tried to push her out of the way, and I was gonna hit Jose. But at the last minute, I decided not to. But I guess when I pushed her, she went down and scraped her knee a little bit. So she went, straight away because her feelings are hurt. So he went straight away and called the cops, and that's how the police got involved. And then Jose told the police that I chipped his tooth, and on and on. And then they told him about the powder gun I had in my glove box because I keep that gun in there for the safety of my kids. I felt that was important because I knew it was somewhat dangerous around my house, but I had no idea how dangerous it was, But anyway, she went to the judge, and she was crying in the courtroom. So the judge called her in his chambers, and she told him she made a huge mistake, and she just wants me out. And so the judge let me out. He OR'd me, actually, with gun charges, and I thought, because I was facing some serious charges, but he OR'd me. And so, we worked it out and everything, and I pled out to a misdemeanor charge, and me and Candace worked everything out. And then we got to talking back to where I was, there was miscommunication. She thought I was partying. No, I was just trying to get ready to go. I was at my sister's party, but I wasn't partying. So it was a misunderstanding. But we worked it out, and we forgive each other, and that was that. Pretty much.
So at any time, did you ever put your hands on push out of the way, move out of the way, Grandma?
No, she was outside. I'm gonna try to get this. I broke my camera. I apologize. That might be a little
right in time on our end.
Okay. No, she was outside by her trailer. I mean, I think she was standing in the doorway maybe, but I wasn't focused on her. But no, I never touched her. No way. And I would never hurt. I wasn't intending to hurt Candace either. I was just trying to get her basically off of me because I wanted to hurt Jose, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But
see Jose again after that?
No, because that night that I went to jail, and this is one thing I respect Candace's mother for, she told him to load his stuff up right now. He is out of there, and she took him to North Carolina. Yeah, so when I left for Utah, I had a good job down there, and I was wanting to move my family down there, and so I guess when she went to Wisconsin or wherever she goes, I can't remember where her mother went, but to help her sister, I think it's Illinois actually, and help her sister for a couple of weeks. And when they come back, Allie and them got together, and they wanted to stay there for a while, and I don't know, do whatever women do, I guess.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Yeah, and the kids all together. and the other two girls that they have there, and Summer likes, you know, them girls and everything. But so I guess I don't know how this Jose got involved or how he ended up there. He come from New York, and so I guess some people dumped him off after they used him up for his money. I don't know, but I have no idea. But it don't sound good. I know that. But yeah, at first, Candace couldn't take the lie detector test, and neither could I because we hadn't slept in days. And they wanted us to take lie detectors, so you have to be real calm and everything. And they wait like 25 seconds, 20, 25 seconds in between questions. So when they ask one question in 20 seconds, you're going to be falling asleep. You got to be perfectly still and everything. So me and her, either one could even take a lie detector test. So I went back the next day, took the lie detector test, and I was told that I passed. And Candace, her nerves were so shot and everything that she couldn't take a lie detector test. They had to wait like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, have her come back on a Monday or maybe even a Tuesday to take her lie detector test, and she took it and finally and passed. We never failed the lie detector test. We just couldn't take a lie detector test.
Did Grandma take one too?
Yes, and she passed also.
Can I ask how long after was, like, when did they ask for the lie detector test? How long after Summer went missing did they ask you to do this?
Immediately on me and Candace, yes. But
So,
I mean, I think they waited 3 or 4 days maybe, because I know we didn't sleep for the first 2 or 3 days. We couldn't sleep. That's, you know, impossible. But so yeah, when they finally got us calmed down and sit still in that chair, you know, you're gonna doze off, you know. So it was impossible to take the test. But I took it the next day and passed. She waited, I think, 3 days and took hers and passed. Okay, so she calls me, and I can hear the fear and anxiety in her voice. She's terrified, and so I'm thinking, well, she's probably just around the house. That was my first thought, but I told her, well, hang up from me. I'm thinking in my mind, I told her, just call 911 just in case. So
what did she say to you? I can't find her, or?
Yes, I've looked everywhere. I've looked everywhere. I can't find her. She's not here. And I said, well, hang up and call 911. And so she hung up. I threw all my tools in the back of that Subaru, and as soon as I got in the car and started down the road, I called 911, and they transferred me to Hawkins County, I guess. And I told them what the situation, you know, that our little girl's not there. And then after that, I got back on Messenger and called her and talked to her through the whole trip. I think it was 30 minutes. I'm not sure, but like 30 minutes, I was able to talk to her on Messenger all the way there. And she was in her mother's truck, driving everywhere, looking for her frantically around our house. So when I get there, I'm still on Messenger with her, and she's still not found 30 minutes later. So I drove directly to the bottom property and down all the way down to the creek. And I see my 3 boys together down by the creek over on this side. And then on the left of me is my neighbor walking around. And my heart sunk right then and there. And I knew she was gone. I knew something happened. I knew something, you know, something. So I drove back out of there and went to the top of the house, and there wasn't no police there yet. I don't believe. There might have been a car too. You know, I just can't remember for sure because everything just, you know, happens. I don't know, but there might have been a cop or two there. I just cannot remember. But it seems like there might have been. But after that, you know, all these trucks and trailers with 4-wheelers and stuff started pouring in, the police, and they actually blocked or bottlenecked Beach Creek and Ben Hill Road. We couldn't get out or in or nothing. It was a nightmare. They just kept asking us all kind of questions. They looked at our phones for the timeline right then and there to see. It might have been the next day, I'm not sure, but they looked at our phones, and he got the 911 calls and all that and wrote all that stuff down. And and that's about it. I asked them if I could go look in my car or whatever, and I tried to leave, and I couldn't even get my car out of the driveway. It was just blocked in. I finally convinced them that I got out and went, talked to, or I shouldn't say his name, but I talked to him about people he might have known, seen coming in and out and stuff like that, but he'd been moving cars all day, so I don't know. It was hard to, it was bottlenecked, so couldn't do nothing. The Subaru, you know, since the boys have been out of school and everything, I was just sitting there, and I'm paying quite a bit of money for it, and I thought, well, I might as well get some use out of it. I'm wearing out my truck, but I'm pretty hard on vehicles, so I decided just to drive it for a while, that's all. Put some miles on it, because it was just sitting there, really. Yeah, and in fact, my boss commented the day that my boss commented that day that Summer went missing, just before I got that phone call. He was making fun of me. He says, that's a hell of a car to be putting a bunch of damn drywall tools in. You know, he was just giving me a hard time. You know, that's how he knows where I was. You know, like I talked to her, she had that messenger call, but I was passing traffic, double yellow line. I almost lost it in a curb. I was going as fast as I could possibly go. I was speeding like crazy. You know, I'm really not sure, but I know it's a 45-minute drive normally. So I don't, you know, I probably made it in 30, I'd say. Yeah, I was in Kansas, and there was nothing out there. You know, I was in Kansas, just flying, and because I was thinking, you know, Jose and Candace got something going on there. So I'm flying home, and that cop was just right behind me. I don't know where he come from, but boy, he snuck up on me good. He got me, but I told him what was going on, and so he gave me a big break and let me go. He gave me a ticket, but not as big as a ticket as I was going. So I'm sure thankful to him, because it could have been pretty bad. But,
Okay. So now another big thing is people are saying, so when you did arrive there finally, why did you not go up to the driveway first? Why did you stop at the shed first? Did you go in the shed, not go in the shed? Or just why did you not go directly to the house and talk to Candace right away? Explain that.
Okay. The reason I went to the bottom property first is because I knew that they were looking all over around the house and in that area and everything. So I figured, you know, by the time I got home, the best place that I could go would be directly down to that creek. I didn't even stop at the shed. I went by it, but I went down that steep bank all the way down into the creek with that little Subaru. And when I seen my boys and I seen my neighbor, that's when my heart just sunk right there. I just knew something was really wrong, you know. So that was the beginning of this pit in my stomach that hasn't went away yet, and it's not going to, I don't believe. But so then I turned around, went back up that bank, and I might have looked in the shed at that time. I can't remember for sure, but I know I looked in the shed at some point. But I went back up to the top. And I do believe there might have been a cop car or two there at that time, but I'm not sure. I can't be positive on that. I'm just so mixed up and everything at that time. Like the boys went down the creek one day together, and she went halfway down the hill, but she wouldn't go all the way. I mean, she was very leery. We tried to tell her or teach her to be very leery, because we do have some wild bears. There's been a lot of bears spotted, and we know there are creeps around there, but we just never thought that one would, you know, lay in wait and try to grab her like what has happened. But, you know, especially midday, not midday, but it's daytime. You know, I don't know. But I've tried several times. I've snuck up. She'd be behind the vehicle just sitting there playing. And so I'd sneak up behind her or on the other side of the truck, and I'd sneak up on her, and I'd scare her. Yeah, you know, there's been many, we tried, you know, to teach her not, you know, that there's wild animals and other things. We just, I don't want to, sorry.
It's okay.
We call them meth heads, meth monsters, whatever, you know, so we knew that was it, but I probably shouldn't say that because people will tear that apart. And sorry. But yeah, bears, and I've snuck up behind her where she'd be behind the vehicle, just sitting there playing or whatever, But I'd sneak up and I'd scare the daylights out of her, trying to teach her, that. And yeah.
Don, what's your best memory thinking right now of you and Summer? Can off the top of your head, the best memory you have of her?
Well, just before this happened, she would always want me to hold her hand where she could twirl, and she'd sit there and twirl and twirl and twirl, and until my arm got tired. I'm like, man, Summer, come on, I'm getting tired. I've just been working all day, And one day she come running in. She was running, and she come running in, and I just put my hand on her back and on her chest, and I felt her heart beating. And I'm like, man, Summer, your heart's beating so fast, And she just always had that smile and just, oh my gosh. I was always at work, constantly working so that, they could have a life. We never got assistance, food stamps, or whatever, or anything. So I was always working, constantly. But any time that me and her went anywhere together, she was my pride and joy right there. Everybody, I miss her so much. Oh my gosh.
I can't even imagine.
No, me either. Me either. Do you regret working so much, Don? Do you think you missed her?
I take my boys to work with me all the time and stuff. It's just that she wasn't quite old enough yet. It wasn't quite safe enough for her yet to, in a couple more years, I would have probably been teaching her how to spot nails, but she just wasn't. I've had her out on a few jobs with Mom, but they'd always leave, but they can spot nails, like that airplane ride. I don't know if y'all seen that. We done the drywall in that airplane hangar, and that guy, he come in and asked if he could give a ride in his airplane. I'm like, I wouldn't let him miss it, So that was pretty awesome. Nobody. They weren't to work with me that day because I fired Dudley the day before. I fired him, and he was just creating a lot of problems at my job. He was driving around there and calling my boss constantly. So for whatever reason, I'm not sure why, but no, one of my boys weren't with me that day. I didn't take them very often, and they really don't like to go, because it's kind of boring sitting there spotting nails all day. So. But they kind of
they want to run free.
Yeah, some of the jobs, where it's more open and stuff out in the middle of nowhere, they can just go out and play on a dirt pile. They love that. So it just kind of depends on the job. That particular job there's a lot of houses. It's a subdivision, and you got a lot of bosses and important people running around. So you can't take a kid at one of them places. It's not, you know what I'm saying. But some of them jobs you could take them to, and they could really enjoy the property and whatever the people were doing with it. You know what I mean? It's just some of the places are really nice, like that airplane hangar. You got to see that, so that was really good. The airplanes and everything.
Yeah, that does sound pretty cool, actually. People drop off their stray dogs there all the time, and we've had a few good dogs, of higher breed that people stole from us, and so we end up with a lot of stray dogs, and so we just take care of them. That's all we can do, the best of our ability. But sometimes they just run off, and we don't see them for a couple of days. But at this particular day, they weren't up on the hill, but one or two of them come in, I think, if I remember right, eventually come in, but that was about it. So we don't know where they go or what they do, but we're not gonna.
So were they around at the time that the police had shown up then to take your guys' report for summer missing? Were the dogs there then?
No, they weren't there, and these dogs are like, they don't know when to bark and when not to bark, and they don't know. I wish now I had some Great Danes or German Shepherds or something like that, because these dogs here are not any kind of dog you'd want to protect your kids. It wouldn't do a bit of good, you know.
Now, a lot of people are wondering, how come Grandma's not living there in the camper right now?
She went to help her sister because her sister, at least this is what we're being told, that her sister is not able to do a lot of work or whatever like that. So that's the story I'm getting told anyway.
Okay. So she must not be a person of interest then for the police to allow her to leave state, right?
No, I wouldn't think so. I mean, she was right there with Candace, you know. I mean, she was putting a knee brace. Candace was putting a knee brace on her when Candace come in the house. You know, she asked the boys where she was, and she said downstairs. And that's when she never seen her after that. From that point on, she's been gone.
I just want to clarify before we move past that, because people are going to say Illinois. I thought she was in Wisconsin.
They lived in Wisconsin, but her sister lives in Illinois somewhere, and I'm not sure what town, but yeah. The first thing that comes to your mind, if somebody hurts my kid or your kid or anybody's kid, is I'm going to hurt them. That's the first thing that's going to run through any person's mind. But if you allow the system to put them in prison, there's no worse place. Death is better than prison. Okay, you have to be in prison or have been there to understand that death is better than prison. So prison's way worse. And not only that, once you get in prison, them guys in there are going to be like, you know what, that could have been my kid. And they're going to act accordingly. A lot of people don't understand that. And that's why I hesitated when I answered that question. And Mr. Chris probably wouldn't, that's probably way beyond him, I guess. I don't know to understand that type of thing. But yeah, prison's the worst thing that any person or human being can go through. So that's, you know, so, but if the man asked God for forgiveness and changed his ways, you know, who am I to not grant him forgiveness? I mean, I don't know. I mean, God says there's hope for all of us. So, I mean, I don't know that I could forgive him, but I know that God says we have to forgive everybody, and we have to work on that. But it might take me the rest of my life, you know. So yeah, thank you.
Were you aware when you called Chris for that recording that, you know, that famous recording the other day? Were you aware he was recording you and going to put that on his channel?
Oh, you mean the phone call? No, we didn't really. He never asked me, but I assumed he was because I'm not that naive. I'm pretty naive though, but I wasn't that naive to think that he wasn't recording it.
But he didn't ask you permission.
He never asked me permission.
How about Jay for Justice? Were you aware she was going to do all of that and release that stuff and do that?
No, I wasn't. No, she never asked me or asked for permission or anything. No.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really underhanded.
Tracy, I don't know if you could hear at all, but yeah, he said Chris never asked permission. He already assumed he was being recorded for that call, but he was not asked if he could put that on his channel or even record his call. But Donald had assumed he was doing so, but it was not asked or given permission. Same with Jay for Justice.
You didn't know you were being recorded with Jay?
No. I thought it was just a regular conversation, you know, but she never asked. on that one. So because of that, I assumed that Chris was probably recording my call also, but I wasn't. I never asked. He never asked me, and
So,
yeah.
Don, you know that we are recording this right now and that we're going to put it on both of mine and Tracy's channels. And we told you this ahead of time, right? And we asked your permission, right?
Absolutely, and I thank you very much for trying to help me clear this up. Thank you.
I thank you for.
You're muted.
Hey, can I say one more thing?
Yep.
Trish had mentioned that I tried selling my kids when I was younger, when I was living in Utah, and I just want to flat out deny that. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Who in the world can you sell kids to anyway? You know, that is just unbelievable.
You, just because you've been on the news and people see dollar signs and stuff, have they always kind of done this to you, or are they really like it's extra now because everybody is seeing, you know, cameras and a few dollar signs, or what? I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, it's been this way ever since I was a little kid. You know, they've turned everybody against me. They've hated me for all these years. They've always hated me. They've turned my dad against me in every way. And all the while, he's co-signing for them new homes, new cars, whatever they want. But they want me out of the way. And another thing, you know, my dad said he was going to leave his house to me when him and his wife died, and I was going to sell my house and pay it off. And since summer, and my dad said that after summer got gone, you know, this is when they started all this. They don't want me around. They don't want me in the picture, you know, and that's fine. They can fight over whatever's left because I don't want to. They can have it.